This is Off the Record, a radio playlist where I help you discover new artists and new music. We are here with Nic Dantes, pop artist who just released his newest EP, Know My Name Act 2. Not one, Act
I
2.
had two people.
Nick, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so excited to talk to you about this project. We're going to also kind of talk a little bit about part words. We're also going to talk a little bit about part one because I'm really curious about how the two go hand in hand. But before we dive into that, I want to know, I always like to start by asking who your musical influences were growing up. Not so much the artists like you were discovering, but like who was playing music around you and what do you remember them playing?
Yes, I love this question because my answer sort of surprises people a little bit. Just because I was a big theater kid growing up, so I was listening to Wicked, Legally Blonde, Chicago, all of those good old
I
theater
love it.
classics. Um, so my music is very definitely inspired by musical theater. But also I was always a huge fan of Lady Gaga and Ariana Grande, all the pop girls, and yeah, Christina Aguilera, that was playing around a lot of. My mom always played Stevie Wonder, so I sort of had a good mix
Mm.
of theater and pop and R&B mixed into one. But yeah.
Growing up, was there like a certain dream role you had in theater? I
Oh my
always
goodness.
love to ask the theater kids this question.
I mean, I still to this day, I've always wanted to be in Wicked. Like as a monkey, I will do whatever. Like I will
Just put
be
me in
in
the room.
crew. Yes, I will be an usher in the Gershwin Theater. I just want to be a part of Wicked in some form. I don't even care how it is. But yeah, definitely Wicked.
Do you have like a favorite role or a favorite show you did as a kid?
You know what? Trying to think. Okay, you know what? I will say that I was a theater kid,
Uh-huh.
I was a child actor. So I started out in theater doing a lot of um, regional productions as a kid. I did play Billy Elliot for a good year in my life. Was it?
Wow.
Yeah, and so that was really, really fun. And I learned a lot about what it's like to be a performer, and especially like I was like 13, 14 doing it.
That
So
role is a beast.
it was crazy, and I've never actually talked about it before. That was why I was so hesitant. But I was like, you know what? I did that. I'm gonna talk about it. But yeah, Billy Elliot was,
That's so cool.
yeah, it was cool.
Well, let's talk a little bit about Know My Name Act 2. And like I mentioned earlier, I'm really curious of like how this act differs from the first act and the kind of through line between the two of them.
Yes. So, Know My Name Act 2 is this new EP, but it is a continuation of Act 1, which is my first EP, and the whole Know My Name concept actually started with the track on my first project. It's kind of the beginning of my alter ego story, which is Twisted Nick. Yes, I do have
Mr.
lore.
Nick.
I have lore, you guys. My alter ego, Twisted Nick. The song itself is about someone wanting to become famous to get revenge on an already famous ex, which is kind of unhinged, but in a funny way. Um, the idea from there grew into this bigger theme of identity, ambition, and feeling seen. And I also just like the title because it feels like an introduction, sort of like,
Yeah.
you don't know me yet, you will, kind of thing. Um, but yeah, it just grew from there. Also, I'm a huge Sabrina Carpenter fan,
Uh,
and the Act One and Act Two, that I took that. A lot of people think I took that from Beyonce. I love Beyonce. Thank you, Beyonce. But I actually took that from Sabrina Carpenter, who did Singular Act One and Singular Act Two. I just had to put that out
I
there.
love it. I love it. It's funny that you bring up Sabrina Carpenter because I have my phases where because I get to listen to a lot of underrated artists, underrated music. But I have my phases where I like have like my pop star of the moment. And the past week, it has been Sabrina Carpenter. I've been playing like Bedcam like every single day. That is like for me personally, that's the song.
Yes, I love my girl. I love my girl Sabrina. I've been with her since the start. Let me tell you, when she blew up, I was like, yep, yep.
I love that. Well, this kind of plays hand in hand to my next question of like what your creation process was like for this EP and where did you draw a lot of your inspiration from?
That's a good question because I feel like I'm still sort of figuring that out.
Yeah.
Every song that I've written on this EP has started in a different way. I will say that I'm a huge concept person. I love world building. I love a good theme. I have a whole list on my notes app of potential song titles that I want to write about. And so whether the melody comes first or the beat comes first, I'm always focused on building a concept. So, for example, Knight in Shining Armor, which is on this new EP, I had that title on a list. And so I've always wanted to write a song called Knight in Shining Armor. And so I took that and sort of found my own personal meaning. And I wrote a lot about my experience as an independent artist and sort of feeling alone and wanting someone to come in and save the day. And, but yeah, it's always starting with a concept. But I was also really lucky to work with super talented people as co-writers on some of these tracks, Arjun, Drew, and JL. And so it's different. Sometimes I work with other people and we have a good time. Sometimes it's just me and a beat that I found online. But yeah, I'm still figuring it out, but it's different.
When you guys get into the room, what is kind of like the energy like? Is it like a giant like writer's jam session? Or do you guys kind of come in like, okay, I was working on this last night. I have this kind of idea.
For example, Hit and Run, Drew sent me the beat first. And I sort of wrote a rough demo to it. It was very different from what it ended up being. And then I went into the studio with Drew and JL and they sort of pitched me a more fuller idea of the song. And I loved it. And then from there, we sort of just like worked together to fill in the pieces and bounce ideas back and forth. And they're really good at, making it still feel like me and still feel personal, but also still sort of capture this flavor of pop that we're trying to go for. I feel like, every song on this EP is a different subgenre of pop. And so we were sort of trying to fit different things. I wanted there to be something for everyone.
Yeah.
And so it's really just like a puzzle piece and a collaborative puzzle piece. And, at the end of the day, magic is made, we hope. And so, yeah.
You kind of answered this next question when you did the singled out video for the singled out series, but what do you
Yes.
hope like audiences take away from the project as a whole?
I think this project, I wouldn't necessarily label it as a happy project or a sad project, but I think sonically and emotionally, it's sort of everything in between. And I think that it's a clear reflection of where I'm at in my life right now. I think I talk a lot about different sides of myself, whether it be in Sex Tape, I'm talking about, feeling insecure and vulnerable. And then in my roller coaster, it's the complete opposite, where I'm literally saying how I'm young, hot, and confident. And so I hope people are able to connect with that sort of journey of figuring yourself out and who you want to be and how you want to show up in this world, not just as an artist, but as a human being.
Yeah. Well, it's time for my favorite question. I asked you to bring 3 songs from 3 other artists, and feel free to elaborate a little bit on why you picked these.
Yes. I'm going to say Leak It by Flo. If you guys don't know who Flo is, they're an incredible girl group. This song just came out and it's been stuck in my head. It's a power pop R&B anthem, and I think they're amazing. I'm also going to say Don't Say That by Rule, who is an incredible artist. I find myself being super inspired by him and his music. And Amelia Moore, See Through, the vocal queen herself. I think she's incredible, and I love how she is able to mix raw emotion with pop melodies and riffs and all the goodness that she is. But yeah, check those artists out. Don't sleep on them. Don't sleep on Nic Dantes, you guys. But yeah.
Well, Nick, thank you so much for coming and chatting with me. And I hope everyone enjoys my favorite track on the project, My Roller Coaster.